Hey, how's it going? Metroid Dread is a great addition to the series. Might even be the greatest game in the Metroid series. I'm not going to make that call at this point, but it's great to see it getting such a positive reception from fans, from critics, and I'm sure Nintendo's happy because it's breaking sales records for the series. And to Nintendo's credit, they did promote the game pretty well leading up to the game's release. But it did raise some questions when they brought up past games in the series like Metroid Fusion, Metroid 2, or Zero Mission, for example, where the games that you can't purchase on the Switch or play at all on the Switch without, well, legally anyway. This isn't a review or anything like that though. Today I want to talk about Metroid Dread mods. But before I get into that, I want to make a disclaimer. There will be some spoilers and things of the final boss and end game content. So consider this right now your spoiler warning if you haven't yet finished the game or you otherwise just don't want to be spoiled. So let's take a look. Now, while Dread is still a very new game, there are already a few projects popping up, including a mod called Metroid Red Prime. As you can see here, it's got some new suit designs, some other changes, and a new soundtrack, which is nice because I found Dread's soundtrack to be a bit underwhelming. It was lacking in those familiar tunes from the past Metroid games, so this will be quite a nice one. You've also got some preview images so far, so it's coming along nicely by the look of it. They've got a fusion-inspired suit, classic Varia, and a phase-on suit. So that actually looks like a really nice retextures of the Dread models there. So looking forward to trying that one out when it releases. And I'll have a link to BigSharkZ's Twitter if you want to keep up to date on this mod. Now, if you finished the game, you would have seen the Metroid suit from the last boss battle. And the unfortunate thing is that's the only time that you can use that suit. Once that fight's over, once you get to your ship, you can't use that suit ever again. And that's something I didn't want to accept. So I started looking around in the files. I was going around in circles at some point. I was just trying to unpackage these files, and files that I couldn't repackage at that time anyway. And just when I was about to give up and accept that I would not be able to use this Metroid suit, I managed to find a way. As you can see, I've got the Metroid suit, as well as all other abilities unlocked. And how I did it was just by editing the save file. And it was actually much simpler than I thought it would be. Well, I guess I wouldn't have wasted all that time if I knew in the first place. But so this is a pretty early save, and I've got the abilities unlocked, and it's essentially a new game plus with the Metroid suit. Look, you see here, I haven't even done this cutscene. So you can kind of just bypass everything. It's essentially a new game plus, so skip everything here. Oh, I don't have the power bombs. Okay. One thing I don't have. Okay. It's interesting seeing it for the first time, the Metroid suit going through these cutscenes, so... Okay, and because the Hyper Suit can be unlocked just with a simple save edit, you can also do the same to unlock the Hyper Beam. Okay, maybe you're wondering what it's like to face Ravenbeak with the Metroid Suit and the Hyper Beam. And we're going to take a look. What's cool is that you get fully animated in these cutscenes with the Metroid Suit. When you get told you've become a Metroid, and you clearly look like one.
It appears your Metroid DNA has caused you to become a Metroid. Ordinarily, this would have happened immediately after the DNA transplant.
Okay, I'll just skip through this, because
that's not... However, you have followed my instructions faithfully so far. Continue to do so. It's that simple. I consider your performance here on TDR highly satisfactory, as I hope it has even awakened your Metroid powers. I was right to let you live during our first encounter. That one glimpse you showed told me everything. Submit and offer up your power. My plan is the only way to bring order to the galaxy. Fulfill your destiny, Samus. This is an order. Disobedience will not be tolerated.
Okay, I'll skip this. You've probably seen that before. What you'll soon see is that you cannot defeat him with the Hyper Beam. I have not been managed to get past this first phase with the Hyper Beam. And like I mentioned before, you can't use the Aeon abilities with the Hyper Beam either. So you're kind of stuck here. You can destroy those quite easily. Yeah, so there's no way to get past this with a Hyper Beam, unfortunately. Hey, you might also be wondering, can you go to your ship? Now that we've got the Hyper Beam, we can go through that door that you would normally melt down in the end game sequence there when you have to escape the planet. So let's find out. So you can melt through it. You can probably hear the chase music starts too. But there's no timer, so you can take as much time as you want here. But there's nothing. There's no ship. There's the ship on the mini map there. So, I mean, it just seems like the cutscene would trigger before you're in range of the what would be the ship. So they didn't bother to put the model in. And that's all there is here. It's not too interesting once you find there's no ship, nothing else to find. So if I try to head back out... Last time I tried this, it kind of broke the game. Yeah, I have to reset the game. It freezes it. And in case you're wondering, the Hyper Beam does work on the Emmy. Well, at least partially. You can melt the first armor off, but you can't completely destroy the enemy. I believe I have to get him to... There we go. And then... Yep. I can't completely kill him. Oh no. Oh, cornered myself. Okay, there was actually a thread on GBA Temp discussing a config file which lets you change a number of things, including some boss health and things like that. But you can also change some of the Aeon abilities, like the flash shift for one, and the phantom cloak, and things like the chain. How many times you can change this together, which is pretty cool. Pretty cool effect. Of course, if you do the previously mentioned Hyper Beam save edit, you can't use these Aeon abilities, so this is on a save just with the Metroid Suit without the Hyper Beam. But in this same thread, I just want to give a mention to user Nova77, who did have some interesting suggestions on how to modify certain files to swap the models, which was an alternate method of getting the Metroid Suit working, or which adds some more possibilities too for model swapping in future mods. And I'll post I'll put a link to that thread in the description. And just on that alternate method, it does have a few other issues, like if you don't swap all the different sections of that file, it's not going to. The right suit's not going to show properly in the cutscenes. So the save file one, makes it show properly in the inventory and in all cutscenes, things like that. Unless it's a pre-rendered cutscene, in which it's not going to work either way. All right, that's my somewhat brief experience with modding and playing around with mods in Metroid Dread. It's still early days, and I'm sure other people will do some much more impressive things as time goes on, and look forward to seeing that.